Testing, testing, testing. Sometimes I feel like nothing ever works. Like nothing ever works truly. The frames are like dropping a lot. We're like 5 minutes in. I'll be right back. I am just getting stuff ready behind the scenes and then we're going to start. We'll talk a little bit about New Japan Pro Wrestling, the two photos that I have there. And then I guess we'll move on to watching Goto versus Callum. I still think that you know, Callum getting an IWGP heavyweight title shot really, really early. One of those things is like, really? Um, How's everybody doing, by the way? I want to see if it's up on I mean, it's up on Substack, but if I just give the regular link, yeah, on I see it. Substack. Yep. We're all good to go. All good to go. Um okay. What is up? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Square Circle Podcast. We are continuing of doing tape study series, which I'm bringing it back every Tuesday, every Thursday. Thursdays can be the one-off kind of deal where we don't have to watch a wrestling match. We could watch like maybe an interview or something that you guys decide for whatever you want to watch. I know I could talk. It's just one of those things of like, what do I say? I'm definitely not being a little bit about New Japan Pro Wrestling and then jumping into the watch along on Twitch and Substack. If you guys are able to join us there, that'll be amazing. The link will be in the chats below. Um, and then the replay will definitely be on the newsletter itself. Um, After editing it, if I need to edit it. Other than that, welcome. Thank you for being here. Uh, Sometimes I get a little like, I guess, flustered because I'm reading everything, especially stuff where they say there's an error and whatnot. But yeah. By all means, if you guys want to upgrade, by any chance, you can end up giving super chats. You could get one of the memberships here on YouTube. You could get an upgraded free, well, paid Substack from your free, and then on Twitch is all the Twitch subs and everything like that. Um, okay. Let me switch a little bit. Um, Sometimes I wonder about the light that I have because the light just got brighter. I don't think I didn't download any of the okay. It's not what I want to do. I'm just gonna cover myself over here, right? Um, Give me a second. Let's talk about this New Japan match very quickly before we jump into watching Goto versus Callum, and you get my whole entire breakdown of it. I don't understand. Give me a second here. Oh, because it's already there. Oh my god, I hate when this thing does this. I hate when they do that. Um, okay, so let's talk about um this right here, where it is Evil versus David Finlay. They did not put a dog collar match on the graphic, but it is a dog collar match after what happened on Tuesday when we watched together the full entire match of the dog pound cage match, where I'm like, yo, we shouldn't be having this cage match at all. We really shouldn't. So what happened at the end, even though Gabriel Kidd got the victory for his team, basically, oh wait a minute, I didn't do the transition. Of course I didn't do the transition. If I didn't get one thing wrong in here, I'm not a streamer. I have no idea what's up. But I honestly believe that because Gabriel Kidd got the victory over Ren Narita to win the war in the dog pound cage match, that while that's a good thing, I guess, Evo decided to take the spotlight because, you know, Evo and House of Torture, generally speaking, don't really care about whether they win, lose, draw, as long as like they are, you know, their namesake, House of Torture, as long as they're doing something very dastardly to people in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So off to the corner, and the cameraman caught it, where they were handcuffing David to the cage, and then and then attaching the dog collar to him and threw the excess over the cage so that way he could essentially choke him out. I could not show that because I'm on like three different platforms, two different platforms when we were watching it, and I couldn't show it, and Eva was stressing me the fuck out because it was like, what the hell are we doing? And I can tell that my stream is really messing up today. So I think that this match should definitely have Evil bleed a little bit more, or just start to bleed, because I don't think I ever saw him bleed in the match. But a dog collar match is definitely a dangerous one. It's definitely one that's needed. And it took away from the victory that Gabriel Kidd had, even though Bullet Club War Dogs as a team and as a unit celebrated together about the victory. But even though it was a victory, it wasn't a very satisfying victory. It was more of a, okay, we got the victory, but then the war is still continuing. The war did not end with that. And I do think that it should have been at least either David getting the victory, or, you know, Evil getting the victory, one of the leaders getting the victory, because as I said in my newsletter article, that for because Gabe Kidd got the victory, it sets up the possibility of Gabe taking over Bullet Club War Dogs if David Finlay was to ever leave. But then I said that Gabriel Kidd is better as a soldier rather than as a leader, just because he's way too quick, hot-tempered when it comes to you know, leading, fighting, not thinking straight, not being calculated. Because, of course, it's going to be one of those days. It's going to be one of those days. Let me do this instead. Hold on. So that way we don't get interrupted. So that way we won't get interrupted. I put the Ethernet cord in because man, um, I hate this. Trying to have like a smooth live stream, very simple live stream, but that's never really gonna happen. Um, okay, so like I was saying that I honestly think that I don't think that Gabe is a leader of David Finlay versus the only story that I am interested in New Japan Pro Wrestling right now, because it's sort of like, what are we doing in New Japan Pro Wrestling? And I'm gonna keep asking that question. Why are the frames dropping? Why? Okay. All right. So, as I was saying, I will keep asking the question, what are we doing? Because it just seems like there's still a former shell of what they used to be. And it's like the stories that they want to tell are just very cookie cutter kind of stories. Luckily, we have Bullet Club War Dogs and House of Torture to save us, even though I know one person is going to be like, what do you mean save us? But that's the only story that I'm interested in. There's no other stories that I am interested in. And by the way, thank you for that like right here on youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast. If you are lurking out there, I will appreciate any more kind of likes. If you want to share it out and bring some people in to chat, that'd be fantastic. We're also live on twitch.tv/Marie_shadows. And we're also live on marieshadows.substack.com. But it just seems like everybody's going through the motion. It just seems like it's another like business as usual with New Japan, and there's nothing concrete about New Japan Pro Wrestling at this very moment. And nothing has really changed. The card that is coming up for what do you call it? Well, tomorrow basically, for New Japan Resurgence. Like, what kind of card is that? What kind of card is it that we get to have this other match that I want to talk about and put a spotlight on, because it is stupid. It's like, who did not see this coming? Huh? Who did not see this match coming? Excuse me. We have Bullet Club War Dogs versus old Bullet Club that got kicked out, with two guys that got kicked out of New Japan Pro Wrestling like 3 different times and then got let go by WWE. The Good Brothers get let go everywhere they go. I don't know why. I mean, we could all speculate, but I really don't want to do that. But you could figure out why they always get let go from the companies that they always work for. Like, what is this? But what I do not like is the fact that we have Bullet Club War Dogs, the hottest act in professional wrestling right now, that basically makes you feel a lot of emotion, that make you end up being like, I want to go support them. They are huge baby faces. They all have their own little story arcs and what they're doing. Clark is doing amazing by doing work in New Japan Pro Wrestling, doing work over in Stardom, and being tag team partners with Thekla, and their story developing. And then you have Drilla Maloney wanting to wrestle everybody and want to take care of Sonata. By the way, the story arc of Sonata versus Drilla, like, I get it because they let Sonata into Bullet Club War Dogs because Gato, you know, and when Sonata betrayed everybody, I believe he ended up betraying Maloney and then betrayed everybody else and then went over to House of Torture, and that's why they're feuding now. But I kind of look at Maloney's like trajectory of his like career and the stories that he's had, and there's only like two that like disappointed me. The first one was with Akira Francesca, and my buddy is gonna be like, I have mispronounced his name again, but Akira, especially with the whole like we weren't friends, and then introduced the fork, and Akira got afraid of the fork, and like that whole story, and I was like, what are we doing, sir? You are Italian, like the fork should be your weapon. Like, I'm half Italian, like a fork shouldn't like bother me, like we use it for fucking spaghetti. Like, I hated that shit. Like, why are you afraid of a fork, man? Like, you're Italian. Come on. And then his feud with Sonata is sort of like, these are lackluster stories that kind of help Maloney along the way, but doesn't really like elevate him or what he could really do, because he's a damn good storyteller. Okay, Drilla Maloney is a damn good storyteller. Whenever he ends up doing backstage comments, he came out with like some good ass one liners, and I think that when we were watching the backstage comments on Tuesday after the dog pound cage match, he said like a really fucking great line. It's just Sonata that, like, you know, his blood used to be cold, but now like his blood is like bitch made or something. And I was like, yo, that's poetry to my ears. That is poetry to my ears. It's one of those things that it's pretty amazing. Like, Drilla Maloney gets it. He has come a very, very long way from when he first started, and I am very, very proud of him. I just don't think that the current stories that he's currently dealing with and they're telling him what to do, or, you know, if this is like just a way of like natural progression, I don't think they're helping him. Him versus Shingo, that was interesting. That was an interesting feud, but we've seen those matches before. I don't know how else you could get something good out of that. But one day, Driller will find something that fits him and can tell a damn good deep ass story, because this guy is really good with the way he thinks, the way that stuff is planned. I do think that New Japan now rushes a lot more than they used to. New Japan never really struck a balance in their pacing when it comes to storylines, when it comes to certain people, when it comes to you know, who gets a title shot, who does this, the setup, the angles. They really never struck a balance of the pacing. It was more like super slow and then slow, and then now it's like super fast, and let's jump over this, jump over that. Let's put, you know, distance between here, but there's never like something down the middle of where like it gradually like gets us there. Similar to like a perfect example, and people online are in their bubbles and they hate that whenever somebody uses the bloodline example, like that took balance, even though maybe some stuff was rushed, maybe not. It depends on, like, you know, how deep you want to think about this, but on the surface level, if you look at the whole entire like bloodline story until we get Roman you know, just again being on an island of his own, in well, like what's currently happening, the pacing of all of that was balanced. You know, there were some detours. Adding Sami Zayn was definitely a detour to bring some life back into the bloodline, just because you can't keep doing the same thing. You can't keep running with the same story. And I think that sometimes that's what happens with wrestlers when they join a group. And sometimes I think that happens with Bullet Club War Dogs, that it's always the same conversation talking points, but they do tend to mix it up. They do tend to have some freshness to it, which is, you know, amazing. But yeah, let's talk about this match here, where it's like, what are we doing? So again, like I said, the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, they got hired by New Japan. They got, you know, let go by New Japan, get hired again, get let go, get hired. They couldn't keep TNA down. They couldn't keep WWE down. They were always like, you know, it's one of those things of like, are they the problem in a way? You know, I see nothing fresh coming from them. Like, I really don't see anything. Just because you got the Bullet Club namesake and, you know, you were once part of Bullet Club doesn't mean that, like, it's always going to save you. You know what I mean? And then the Young Bucks always need to piggyback off of others to stay relevant. And they haven't changed up their movesets in, like, you know, the 2000s, 2010s. They still think that everything can be meta, when it's like, you guys need to change and become adaptable and become fresh. And when I say meta, there was a point in time in the 2010s where, you know, people would call them spot monkeys. And if you don't know what a spot monkey is in professional wrestling, it's basically when you do the same spots over and over, and it's very, you see it more. You notice it. You're like, oh, they're going to set up for, you know, the Meltzer driver, or they're going to set up for the Indie Taker. Or all the super kicks and the super kick party, and you're invited to the super kick party, and you know exactly when in the match that spot is going to drop. So people were getting, like, you know, really not really overwhelmed, but just frustrated at the fact of, like, we've seen this before. We've seen this same match before. We've seen these same beats in this match. There is nothing new. Now, granted, okay, we got to back up a little bit, because, you know, the haters might come out of left field, and it's totally okay if the haters come out of left field, because I'm so used to it that, you know, you guys are going to be here no matter what. I used to be a Young Bucks fan. I used to believe in the bullshit that the Young Bucks were to give us. And by the way, if you hear stuff outside, there's construction happening. But I used to be a Young Bucks fan. I used to believe the bullshit. I used to believe all of that. And then, like, AEW came out, and I was like, I'm on board with AEW. You know, I'm on board with these stories and these emotions, and, you know, take me through the process, and let's see how everybody grows. However, after a while, after the honeymoon phase, like, you know, the glasses get taken off, you basically see the world again. And because I work in wrestling, you get to understand a lot of different things. You get to know things. You get to, you know, just sit back and react to that. Yo, MD, thank you for being over at Twitch. We'll get to Will Ospreay, I guess. I wasn't gonna plan on, like, talking about Will Ospreay and whatnot. You know what? Even though this is a little detour, but I think it's totally right. You know, by you saying that Will Ospreay is a glorified spot monkey, I will say this though, that for some reason there is this disconnect. Or maybe I didn't see it before, but now I see it in AEW, just because of, like, AEW is a lot more exposed. And they are exposed because they keep doing the same shit over and over, and it's on a more, like, bigger microscope in a way. But there is a disconnect between Will Ospreay back in New Japan Pro Wrestling, when he was doing the Kingpin character, And the whole, like, he's on a whole nother level character. And I really enjoy those matches. And I really do think that it's because of the New Japan wrestlers that he was wrestling with, basically try to keep him grounded in a way where he's not looking like a spot monkey. But now in AEW, it's like he just does whatever, and he does the same spots. He does the same Canadian destroyers and the same this, the same that, without taking a breath, without letting any moves sell, without, anything like that, dude. It's like him, the Young Bucks, Ricochet, everybody, they want to bring back that PWG style, and it's like you can't bring back that PWG style in a sense. You really can't, because there are different fans that will appreciate different kinds of like wrestling, different kinds of art. But you just can't. You have to evolve. You have to go past a limiting kind of repertoire. And especially that you're on television, you're on national television, and also a streaming service. You do have to think about the people who are at home that may not spend 24/7 on their phone, on Twitter, and looking up every single little detail, every single little drama, and be in this like Twitter bubble or a Reddit bubble. So they have to think about like both live audiences and the fans at home, rather than being like, hey, this is our insider joke kind of wrestling match. You guys are going to love it, and those that like rock with us, they're gonna get it. And there's this disconnect. We don't really have that much of a disconnect whenever we talk about WWE and celebrate WWE and like the content that they're giving us. There might be like that small section on Twitter that will be all grumbly and cranky about what WWE does, but they're gonna go live in their void. They're gonna not get that much attention. Please do not give them attention, because they need to find a hobby or something to get fulfillment in life. Do not give them attention. That small little group, and you guys know exactly what little group I'm talking about, even though it's a generalized statement. But to get back to that thing, that Ospreay used to be so good. Now he's just overexposed and does whatever he wants to do. And it's like, sir, wrestling is a team effort. There is no I in team, okay? But when wrestlers get so comfortable to pull out all of these spots, to have no selling, to kick whoever, to do certain things and not have a good story that can be told in the ring, it sort of becomes an individual sort of situation and not a team situation. And I say that because as I, circle back to Bullet Club War Dogs versus Bullet Club of old, it's going to be a spot fest. It's not really going to make sense, but I do trust Gabe, Finley, Clark, and I also trust Gato to make it into a really good match where it makes sense, because it needs to make sense. Now, am I going to watch it? Yeah, we're gonna watch it for a tape study, and I'm gonna break it down, and hopefully you guys can come along and watch. Maybe we could do this on like, the day after, like on a Sunday, where I have like all my regulars, because I miss you guys right now. And we'll do something like on a Sunday, a special tape study event where I am breaking it down. Am I gonna probably get frustrated and upset with the match? Yep, I already know. Because like I said, and like I've been saying, whenever the Young Bucks need to stay relevant, they jump on the hottest act. And it's like, you guys don't need to be there. Even if it's like to make history, and I get it. People should be making history in professional wrestling. They should be. But sometimes you need to understand and learn that you're not always needed for these spots, for these opportunities. It's the same way of like, if I was giving life advice to people out there who want to listen, that sometimes opportunities that you think that was meant for you is probably not for you, and that's totally okay. It's totally okay. There are opportunities that are specifically made for you, for your career, for your content, for what you want to do, for who you want to hang out with. Like, there are opportunities out there that are made specifically for you. Not every opportunity is going to, treat you well or treat other people's well. Some opportunities that you think that might be for you might end up, breaking a lot more than giving such a positive moment, if that makes sense. And this is the same way with the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks think that every opportunity for them is for them. And it's like, wow, we look at this business in a very, very weird way, where people would, stomp all over each other and climb to the top and be like, I am the best because I did it all on my own, which is fine. People can do that. You could do it all on your own and it's totally great, but you still need some type of support system. And if you burn all your bridges that are your support system, it's going to be super lonely at the top. And, this is what I see sometimes that unfolds in New Japan Pro Wrestling, that like, it's lonely. It's frustrating. It's not the New Japan of giving us stories, giving us emotion to go with it. It's more about like, hey, what match can we put next? Hey, who's challenging Goto? Oh, we should put Zack Sabre Jr. And it's like, yeah, let's do that. But I need to remind you guys that the New Japan Cup got wrapped up in March, my birthday month, right? And who is the 2025 winner of the New Japan Cup? He is the leader of Bullet Club War Dogs, David Finlay. Why the fuck is he not challenging Goto for that IWGP World Heavyweight Championship title? What makes Zack Sabre Jr. so special to get that title shot in the States? Even if like this match was not happening, why? And as I was talking about opportunities, that's an opportunity that they could have awarded Finlay, so that way he could right the wrong and get the belt off of Goto. And I'm not saying that because Goto has been bad or anything. Like, Goto is just starting his reign as IWGP champion, and I get it. I love Goto. Goto is a fantastic wrestler, and Goto's amazing, and he finally got the big one. But New Japan Pro Wrestling cannot afford to basically go at a slow pace. They have to somewhat go at a fast pace, and that might contradict what I said earlier about like, this is what they're doing now, but they need to find a balance. Right now, their hottest act is Bullet Club War Dogs. Nobody else is really caring about the other factions in New Japan Pro Wrestling. We have Tsuji. I love Tsuji to death. We have Yuya. I love him too. We have Ren Narita. We have Sho, but like Ren and Sho are part of Super Juniors. And then let me see who else. I'm trying to remember people off the top of my head. I do plan to have another live stream where like, everybody is going to be joining me and chatting in chat. But we're going to go over the New Japan roster and be like, how can we fit these guys into our little fantasy booking of like New Japan Pro Wrestling and how things can work? Because I don't think people know who's on the roster, who's doing what, and what's happening with what. And I would love to just do that video for you guys and be like, let's talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling in a different kind of way, where people don't always think that I'm complaining about New Japan Pro Wrestling or I'm being hateful or all I do is complain. No, if you guys don't like any kind of constructive criticism, that my content isn't for you. And I really don't like saying that, because I do appreciate civil, conversation when it comes to talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling, talking about professional wrestling and how to make it better. That's all of my content, is how to make professional wrestling better. It's not about like, oh, I hate this sucks, stop doing it. No, because then I wouldn't get anywhere. Or maybe I would. I probably would be a rich girl right now if I was like, yo, this sucks, who's with me? Hit that like button. You guys want to send over, $5 for this or that. Like, I would be pretty like mean and stupid if I were to really, really be like, yeah, guys, that sucked. It sucked. So send me some money. Like, what? I'd rather have deep conversations and like really good thought-provoking questions and fantasy booking this and fantasy booking that, even if like it doesn't come true. But at least that I'm trying to contribute to the world of professional wrestling for it to be on a very higher elevated playing field, rather than sticking people into a box. And when I say sticking people into a box of like, there are wrestlers out there that have, certain sets of skills that can be pushed to the forefront, but that doesn't really happen. This is why like I enjoy doing tape study. This is why I enjoy doing the content that I do. And it's way different from anybody else's content, because I'm not gonna be on here chatting it up and be like, oh, did you see what the IWC said? I might like talk about what the IWC said, and I might talk about what wrestlers say, but my main passion is to make sure that wrestling is better than it was yesterday, and that people appreciate the art form just a little bit better, and be like, hey, this wrestler is doing XYZ in this match, this is all good. However, you have to keep in mind the audience. I love talking about how if a independent wrestler is going from city to city and they're getting booked everywhere on the East Coast or the West Coast or the Midwest or just all over the United States, that they should understand the different crowds. And if you can understand the different crowds, you will be a major hit over in places like Japan, in places like China, because now China's now having professional wrestling over there, and places like Italy. Like, if you understand people dynamics and like what they do and how they cheer and how they react to wrestlers all up and down the card, right? You will be really set to take on anything. And this is what the Square Circle podcast does. This is what Marie Shadows does. I basically look at things from a different type of perspective, a different type of angle. But for the most part, those with low IQ on Twitter and on Reddit will just see me as complaining, will just see me as the chick who just talks a lot, that I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm like a female Jim Cornette, which I'm not going to let that down, or I'm a female Bully Ray. Like, thank you for those comments. Yeah, I got the little tiny cheesy ass smile, because I would never think in my 6 years of doing this, and once work for WWE, help out MOW when I can, be MOW's media press, that I would ever get called, a female Bully Ray and a female Jim Cornette. But I take that with pride. I really, really do. But my whole entire thing is just to help out professional wrestling as it is, to help it out. But yeah, so back to this match, because I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but I really do thank you guys for allowing me to go off on that little rant, because sometimes I feel like people don't even sit down to watch my content or understand my content or even ask me questions about my content. So I have no problem giving you guys the rundown of what I do. Now, for this match, again, I don't know how many times I have to say it though, that like the Young Bucks need to live in relevancy, and for them to live in relevancy, they have to go onto the hottest act there is, which is Bullet Club War Dogs. We do not need this. Why do we need some type of Bullet Club civil war just to get the fans involved? The fans that AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling can't seem to keep. This is why, like, I advocate for New Japan Pro Wrestling to break away from AEW, and that's not me trying to be like, oh, I just hate everything. That's me trying to be like, hey, the writing is on the wall, okay? The writing is on the wall, and if you do not see it, you're going to fail. You're going to go under. Now, I do want to address something that I think, because I know somebody will be like, oh, there's the United Japanese promotion roundtable that's over in Japan. That got formed because they realized that if another like pandemic were to happen, or another like big issue situation were to happen, these promotions will have each other's backs in terms of like if they needed a little bit extra funding, or they needed a little bit extra like boost or something like that. It's about taking care of in-house promotions. That's why that roundtable of all the Japanese promotions was created. And like I said some time ago during one of my other live streams, or maybe one of my other like audio podcasts, is that there was no conversation about like AEW in that at all. So don't even think about like, oh, what if AEW buys New Japan Pro Wrestling? If AEW has to cancel Ring of Honor shows and Collision shows, and we no longer have Rampage, and if AEW has to cut corners and have to let contracts expire, and all that underhanded, carny ass bullshit that happens in professional wrestling, they are not making the profit that you think that they're making. They're trying to save money, just in case if something happens, they could take care of it. But they are losing money if they have to cancel shows because tickets are not selling. This is not happening. That's not happening. They're losing money. Whether you want to believe it or not, AEW is losing money if they have to do that. And I know people on here would be like, why do you care? I guess giving facts, it's totally different. Like if I'm giving facts, it's just giving facts about situations. Do I expect anything from this match right here of Bullet Club versus Bullet Club again? No, I do not. We are gonna watch it together. Probably on a Sunday. That's why I would really urge people either right now or on the VOD that you go down to the comment section, click the link for the newsletter. I'm trying to grow my newsletter. I would like you guys to be a part of it if you resonate and vibe with what I'm saying here. So you can sign up and you can get notified on Sunday when I go live to watch the match specifically. If not Sunday, it might have to be a Monday, unfortunately. We will play it out. We'll see what happens. But we do not need the Young Bucks in New Japan Pro Wrestling. We do not need the Good Brothers in New Japan Pro Wrestling. We don't. And by the way, we do not need New Japan Strong just to be kept around for the pay-per-views if New Japan Strong is not going to be taken seriously, if it's not going to be revamped, and if they're not going to have the weekly shows. I've said this over and over and over again, and I'll keep on saying it. The weekly shows of New Japan Strong helped with the public perception over here in the States when it came to the pay-per-views. Now that we no longer have the weekly shows and that New Japan Pro Wrestling does not want to reinvest in the weekly shows, which they can, and have Fred Rosser in charge of that with Kushida and like whoever else is running the dojo now, they could just reinvest. They might have to move out of California because California is just strangling people like their money, because that's what happens. I'm just gonna stop it there. But they could just bring back New Japan Strong, so that way, we could get used to a brand new roster that is very, very hungry. New Japan Pro Wrestling over in the LA Dojo has the Dojo Academy where they take wrestlers come in. It's a wrestling school, but none of those wrestlers get featured over in Japan. None of those wrestlers like the bulk of those wrestlers don't get featured on the NJPW pay-per-view shows. You have two that get featured. Probably three. Because I know in tomorrow, there might be like two people that get featured on the show. But none of the students get featured anywhere else. The students go, they spend their money, they get trained as they get trained under the dojo house rules, and that's it. Nothing else. I haven't heard anything from them. New Japan Pro Wrestling, even the NJPW of America Twitter account don't even acknowledge these kids. If they go to a promotion and be like, oh, they were a former NJPW student. I don't hear any of that. So I don't even know, like, I might be scrolling by, but I'm not really like paying attention to the pictures that they post of like, oh, here's the class of the NJPW Academy and whatnot. And I'm like, all right, cool, but I keep it scrolling at that point. But none of the New Japan handles go out of their way to be like, oh, this is a former student from the NJPW Academy. So that way, the LA dojo can feel like the place to be. That way, New Japan Pro Wrestling can feel like the standard school that you should go to if you don't want to go to like Creator Pro, if you don't want to go to like NAD other schools and stuff like that, that are very prestigious in the world of professional wrestling. New Japan Pro Wrestling don't do that. If somebody comes from Creator Pro, you see that automatically on Twitter. They'll be like, oh, such and such wrestler is a former student of, a better example to amplify what I'm saying. On Twitter, you would see certain tweets from certain, people or accounts that would say such and such wrestler is a former student from Creator Pro, blah, blah, blah. Such and such wrestler is a former student of Johnny Rodz. Such and such wrestler is a former student of Team 3D Academy. I don't see that with New Japan Pro Wrestling. These are just areas that New Japan needs to work on. And if I'm bringing this up to bring awareness to it, it's probably going to get taken anyway. And the idea is probably going to get turned around because somebody's probably going to listen in and like tell management or tell whoever, and it'll be okay. You'll know who said it here first. You would know. You would definitely know who said it here first. But yeah, so I just want New Japan Pro Wrestling to succeed. That is all I want. If you on the internet think that like I don't want them to succeed, you're in your own world, you're in your own bubble, and you just want it to be about you. And I don't really know who you are. But I know what I want in wrestling. I know that wrestling should always be a give and take. It should always be a team effort. There are certain instances where in wrestling it can be an I effort and that's about it. But most of the time it needs to be a team effort. If it's not a team effort, then you have a problem on your hands and you got to get rid of that problem. I just want wrestling to succeed in all fashions, all avenues, rather than it being such a, well, certain companies like AEW being such a niche sort of play, even though that's not the word I want to use. But let's just go with it. Like a niche sort of party that only the in crowd would get. And I've been there. I've been part of the in crowd where I would have to explain things to other people about like, why is this happening? Why is this funny? What bit are they doing? I had to explain all that to certain people because they didn't get it. They weren't part of the in crowd. And even though we say we want AEW to be an alternative, I still want them to be an alternative. But being an alternative does not mean that you get to play to the in crowd of your niche audience. There we go. There we go. That's how I wanted to say it. I'm going to say it again. If you want AEW to be the alternative, AEW should not be playing to the in crowd of their niche audience, meaning that whenever the Young Bucks does something meta and they play off of what the internet is yelling about, and they bring that into their spots, they bring that into their promos, they bring that into every single little facet of what they do to be like, we're the Young Bucks, but they do everything so meta. There are just people that understand the inside of these jokes. They're in the in crowd, they're in the in circle, but that does not make them an alternative. That should not make them an alternative, because then you just alienate everybody else that may want to be involved in this party. But this party is a who's who kind of party. Who do you know? Who do you not know? What do you understand? Do you understand this joke? Do you not understand this bit? You know, it's not about like opening it up to everybody. The AEW audience says that, you know, wrestling's for everybody, we're for everybody, but they're really not. They're only just for themselves in this niche little product that is created. But you cannot create a successful organization that caters to the in crowd of your niche audience, because you're not going to grow. And we could debate about that all day long with the same old tired talking points. But if you're not going to look at this from a big picture kind of conversation, then there is no saving. There is no logical conversation. There is no good, deep conversation where we could be like, okay, I understand that perspective. I get that perspective. Maybe AEW should end up doing this or end up doing that. We're not the smart ones that have a podcast, that have a microphone, right? The smart ones like myself, which I'm going to put myself over because I'm just going to do that. The smart ones like myself are not asking for a WWE light. The smart ones like myself are not asking for a WWE 2.0. We're not saying that. We're just saying that you cannot survive on it being so niche that only 200,000, 600,000, I'll be generous, people know. We're not even counting the max viewers, because no one is watching AEW on Max to reach 1 million viewers. That's not happening. That's so stupid to say there's 1 million people watching on Max. No, they're not. They are absolutely not. You want to know why? Because nobody is getting a Max subscription for AEW. However, on the flip side, people will be getting a Netflix subscription, or get it back because they left Netflix, so they're going to get it back. They will get it back for WWE because that just makes more sense. Netflix it's gritty. Netflix has like documentaries on there. Max on HBO, like what the hell are you gonna watch? You're gonna watch like, you know, what is it? Back in the day, I like the softcore stuff, you know, the softcore sexy time on Max, like late night shit. Like nobody gets a Max subscription unless they already have a Max subscription, or they what is it, or what's the or I'm looking for? You either already have like HBO Max, or you don't, or you like get it somewhere else. But no, but like Max is not made for professional wrestling. HBO is not made for professional wrestling. Netflix teeters along the line of maybe being made for wrestling, just because of like the documentaries that are on there, and some of the documentaries talk about wrestling, so that makes more sense. But in essence, they're not really for or made for wrestling, but because they have those documentaries, it just fits. But HBO on Max, that's not made for professional wrestling. And again, nobody, like, they're not getting 1 million viewers. They're not. You can argue in the comments all day long. It's okay. I'll read them all and like see what I can reply to. But other than that, New Japan Pro Wrestling does not need to rely on the Young Bucks. They don't need to rely on the Good Brothers, because then right after this, May 10th, over in Canada, with Scott D'Amour's promotion, Maple Leaf Wrestling, it's going to be the Good Brothers versus David Finlay and Drilla Maloney of Bullet Club War Dogs. Why? Why are we doing this? I just feel like because Bullet Club War Dogs is the hottest act and people want Drilla Maloney, people want Gabriel Kidd, people want Clark Connors, people want David Finlay. You kind of go with the flow, you go with the momentum, and you book them in matches against like either former Bullet Club members or former other people or just regular people. And it's like you're just watering down how special Bullet Club War Dogs is by just May 10th. It's going to be over in Canada, and it's the Good Brothers versus David and Drilla. What are they going to do in that match that we might end up seeing again that, you know, we'll see in this match right here on my screen? What up, Denisha? Thank you for stopping on by on the youtube.com// Square Circle Podcasts. Yo, Mo, what's up? Thank you for following me on Twitch. And sorry that I'm getting to your comments late. The hyperbole from the sickos is just a detriment for the company, and Tony does himself no favor by encouraging them. Yes, yes, 100%. I have Max, and they don't even advertise AEW on their front page, and that is sad. By the way, that wasn't me. That was our awesome buddy Mo. Mo has Max. But yeah, I would totally agree, dude. Like, I agree. Oh, I so agree. Okay. I have been talking for a while. Luckily, my allergies have not like flared up. But yeah, I've said a lot. So this is what's gonna happen. First let me drink some water. We are going to watch and break down Goto versus Callum Newman for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship title, right? That is going to be over at twitch.tv/Marie_Shadows, and that's going to be over at marieshadows.substack.com. If for whatever reason you do not want to head over to any of those two, right? The replay will be up. This whole entire thing will be edited. And you can watch it like that. I will be doing a breakdown when I do tape study series. It is me pausing, reacting, talking about it. I really want to see how far Callum has come, because people online are like, you know, he has developed more and all this kind of stuff, and I don't see it. I don't see it because he's still young, he's still green. So we'll see it. So yeah, it'll be over there, over those two. And if you want to catch it, you know, after the fact, you can. But we are going to be watching it, breaking it down and whatnot. That's what tape study is all about. YouTube would definitely bring down the band hammer on me, and I don't want that. Just so you know. So yeah. And also, if you sign up to the newsletter, it is a free wrestling newsletter. You're not paying $14.99 for it like some other people do. You are getting extra insights. You're getting extra content. You're getting a lot of stuff for free. I barely put stuff behind a paywall. I should do that, but I do want the conversations. I do want to encourage people to leave comments on the newsletter, emails and stuff like that. It goes directly to your inbox. But for the most part, there is a healthy chunk of free stuff. But you know, that's because I want conversation. I also would love, you know, if you want to take it from a free to a paid, that'd be great too. But Substack is where to be for the newsletter. It is the place to be, other than like my Discord, other than on Twitter, other than the YouTube community section. And by the way, I am very thankful for all of my community. I am very thankful for everybody that chips in, that tells the world word of mouth, because, you know, if my haters are not coming after me, I'm not doing something right with this. When people start talking about me, you know, I'm doing something right. And if you want to be a part of something that we could talk about wrestling with honesty, maybe some like agree to disagree if you want to, but talk about wrestling with honesty and talk about stuff in real time and not live in a bubble, then by all means, right here on youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, hit that like button. And if you want, you can send in some super chats after the fact of this video. They're called thanks. And you can also join the tiers, either the $1.99 tier or the $9.99 tier, because memberships are open, and I would appreciate you guys for doing that. In the future, I guess in the upcoming weeks or days or however it is, I do want to do 2 special videos for you guys. One special video, again, is talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling and showing off the roster and fantasy booking and having fun with it and being like, this wrestler is currently doing this, this is happening, we could do this, blah, blah, blah. And then the other one is a little bit more complicated because I never used a tier maker list to basically talk about, you know, music and WWE theme songs of wrestlers and of like Raw, SmackDown, ECW, and have a video like that. I am trying to land a very, very special interview in the music world, and I just think that would be very fun to do. That's just me giving away too much information, but who knows? But yeah, that is what I want to do more on YouTube. And then just to reiterate for like Tape Study Series, which is Mo. Thank you for becoming a member to the day one-ish. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, man, so much. Thanks for you know, always leaving your comments as well and having a conversation with me. Welcome to the family, man. And I'll go read your comments on Twitch in a moment. But just to reiterate, the Tape Study Series is very near and dear to my heart. I used to do this all the time during the pandemic days, the years that we really don't talk about as much. But I used to watch professional wrestling matches with you guys, break it down, and you know, even indie wrestlers, they would give me their matches and talk about their matches, and I just love breaking it down. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing over on Twitch and Substack in a little bit. But I want to bring that back on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thursdays could be a toss-up to where if you guys want to send me in some requests to react to maybe like an interview or a match, like we'll set that up. I still want to use like the Substack group chat, the newsletter group chat, because that's a private group chat. You guys can join, and whenever I drop something in there, you guys can give me stuff like that, or on the Discord. I don't know, but I just want more interactions, more encouragement. So if that's something that you like to do, is send over like, hey, you know, can we watch this on a Thursday? We could do that. Certain days out of the week could be a special thing, like that Bullet Club versus Bullet Club thing is going to be a very special day, so look out for news on that. But yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays are tape study. Tuesday is definitely like tape study because that's like a vibe. But like Thursday could be like anywhere up, you know, that could be up above. But the party is going to continue over on Twitch and over on Substack, and then after the fact, all of this will be back up as a re-upload on Substack. So marieshadows.substack.com is the newsletter and the place to be. So make sure you guys join us over there. But we're going to continue the party over on Twitch, over on Substack. Again, Mo, thank you so much for becoming a member, the day one-ish crowd. I so appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys on the next stream. The next stream for like YouTube.